All right, guys, we're back with another Modified Rides podcast. Today, I have a fellow photographer, kind of up and coming. You guys has been around for a while, may not recognize the name, but all you new school guys will damn sure recognize the name. Today, I have Joe Aceveda. I'm trying to say that right, from Ace Graphix. Most people know from Ace Graphix. What's up, Joe?
Yes, sir. Yeah, you said it pretty good.
We said before we come on, I was trying to figure out how to pronounce it. That North Carolina Southern is not the Texas slang or pronunciation for it. So Joe's kind of really blown up here recently in the photography world. I remember when he was reaching out back when I was editor of Street Trucks, like, hey, how do I get in? This kind of stuff. It seems in the last year and a half or so, you've really kind of blown up with it. So I guess let's start and tell people who Joe is and kind of where you grew up and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, so like Brandon said, my name is Joe Aceveda. Everybody knows me as Ace, but I go under Ace Graphix on social media. And I'm here from South Texas, really down in South Texas, not San Antonio. So I'm actually from the Valley. That's at the border of Texas. Mexico is literally like 10 minutes from here.
Why do they call it the Valley?
So that's a good question because I guess because of the palm trees, I'm pretty guessing. There's a lot of palm trees.
There's palm trees in Texas.
Yeah, there's a lot of palm trees down here.
Now when Joe says he lives near the border, he was telling me a story at Battle of Bama about having the drone too close to the border there and kind of got stopped. So I didn't realize you were that close. So.
Oh yeah, it gets pretty wild down here.
So did you grow up around cars or did you get into it later in life?
So my dad, he was like a truck enthusiast. So when I was growing up, my dad had a 1989 Chevy Silverado OBS. There was the choo-choo custom style trucks. I don't know if you're familiar with those.
Body kit, faded paint job.
Yeah, it had all the ugly stuff that nobody liked back in the day. Yeah, my dad had one of those. He had two of them, actually.
What colors was his?
So the first one was a 5-1, and the second one it was a maroon.
Maroon and pewter, probably.
Yeah. And then the inside was all maroon interior with the wood grain. It had the little choo-choo train custom, all that good stuff. Yeah, I hated that truck when I was small.
But I've noticed that look has started to really come back with like the 15x10s. I know the guy I shoot the Meekum photos for, he's had a few come through that's time capsules from back then. So
here, they never died down here in the Valley, especially in the hometown that I was in. They never died down. It's a popular thing down here.
Well, the Texas truck scene has always been probably the most aggressive truck scene in the country. Like I think Texas has taken over the Southern California truck scene.
Yeah. I mean, Cali has its own, but just Texas just blows it out of the water every time.
So you grew up, messing with trucks with your dad. Did y'all go to car shows and stuff back when you were a kid?
Oh, not really. The car shows I started doing when I was older. Usually my dad was never around. He was always working, oil field life. So he was never around, you know what I mean? And then I've always wanted to go to the big shows, but never got around it.
So when did you get into actually going to shows?
So the shows thing actually started when I was in high school, freshman year.
And what year was that?
You're gonna 2000, yeah, 2009.
You're even younger than my wife is.
Yeah.
We was talking about that at Battle of Bama too. When I started this, so in 2001, you were what, middle school?
I was probably, let's say, yeah, you can probably say middle school. No, I was probably in elementary. I remember because when the Twin Tower thing happened, it was 2002, and I was in 4th grade.
It was
01. Okay, 01. Yeah, so I was in 4th grade when that happened.
Yep. So now you're going to need me to go find the old man filter to give me all the gray hair and the wrinkles and stuff. Because I feel old now.
You're feeling old now.
So do you remember the first time you went to a show? Is it something that stuck with you? I guess because now you're heavily involved with it.
So actually, we had a lot of local shows here, especially at the racetrack that's local to us. They had a whole bunch of events, and that's where it just I got that love for it. You know what I mean? And then when I was in high school, I always wanted to capture like, hey, you know what? I remember I had like a disposable camera. I didn't even have money to buy an actual camera, and then from there, I upgraded to like the point and shoots. And then
Yep.
from there, I had a graphic design class in high school, and so back when I was in high school, we had a truck forum called RGBTruckPerformance.net. That's when before Facebook, before Instagram, before everything, we had a truck forum. So that truck forum, I was one of the signature artists, and I would make like little signatures for the guys and everything. I'd take pictures of the truck, put their username on there, so that's where that came from.
Gotcha. Did you know in high school that you wanted to do something in the graphics field, or is that just a
So
filling
I
a
always wanted
class
to be.
requirement?
No, I took the graphic designing class because I've always wanted to be a graphic designer. That was my main goal, being a graphic designer.
Did you go to school anything after high school to learn any further?
Nope. So I was young, dumb, and full of you know what. So when I was in high school,
Energy, full of energy.
you're full of energy. There you go. So in senior year, I got my wife. She actually got pregnant and everything. So senior year came around when I was gonna graduate. I had two options. My dad said like, you're gonna work or you're gonna go to school. So being a young father, I'm like, you know what, Dad, I'm just gonna go to work. So got introduced to the oil field, did that for a long time, and yeah, it's a rough life after that.
So you were in the oil field for a while? Because I know you don't
Yeah.
do that now.
No, I don't. I retired from the oil field ever since my accident. So I retired 2021. Yeah, that's when I
What do you
retired from
mean?
the oil.
You said your accident.
So in the oil field, I had a real bad accident while I was working up in the derricks. I had a pipe pulling the pipe and I slipped, so that pipe came through. And at me trying to be a big muscle guy, try to manhandle it, you can't handle a 90-foot pipe. So
Yeah.
that thing just came swinging. It caught me in between the guard and it broke my collarbone.
And so you was done with it after that, huh?
Yeah, after that I was done.
So, so when you say work in the oil field, have you seen the show Landman?
Yeah.
Is it pretty
No.
realistic?
No.
Really?
Yeah, everything that you see in TV is just a bunch of BS.
They made it seem like it was the real life
I
world
mean,
down there in
that
Texas.
was actually that's the production side of the oil field. So those are workovers. I would work on the actual drilling rig. I started off in a Kelly double, and then I started upgraded to a triple. So those are the ones that actually dig the holes, and that's where the good stuff happens.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So you mentioned before you come on, you had a couple of vehicles that you kind of tinkered with yourself. Was this in high school or after high school that you did
So
that, and what were they?
in high school, I started off with a '98 OBS. That was my baby, and that one was
Was it
actually
one of your
kind of
dad's
no,
shoot you custom trucks?
no, he wouldn't let me drive. He's like, hell no. I was like, yeah, it wasn't one of those. So I had a '98. It was a pewter truck, power manual windows. It was a V6. It was just a piece of crap. But in high school, if you had a single cab in high school, you were bought it. Yeah. And then that one, I didn't have money at the time, so I told my dad, hey, I want to drop it. So he's like, so what do you want to do? Do you have the money for it? No. So he's like, so what are we gonna do? Like, you got two options: save up for a drop kit, or we go the Mexican way. And what's the Mexican way? Cut springs and heated leaf springs. Come on.
Does that mean that I'm Mexican? Because that was my first bout. We cut springs in the car.
Yeah, I guess that's the fight boy version then.
So you had that through high school, and that was before you started hitting any shows or anything. You just kind of just drove it as a cool little truck.
Yeah, pretty much. I was running on the 15s, and then I put on the 295 50 Cooper tires that you put on the 15 by 10, so it gave you that meaty look, and it looked pretty sporty.
Gotcha. So how long did you have it before you got the Tahoe?
So I sold the truck literally right after high school. I bought the Tahoe because I needed a family vehicle. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to go with the Tahoe. I mean, I didn't know what I was getting myself into. And me wanting to be different, I've always liked the super sports, right? But I could never afford it at the time. So I was like, you know what? Since I was making the oil field money, I was like, what if I build a Tahoe? Super Sport in this version. So I bought the front end, the '06 front clip, bought the bumpers, I bought the claddings, thinking that the claddings would just stick on. I didn't know you had to modify them till I actually got there. So after that, a buddy of my dad that already passed away, he actually did the job. It was his first time doing something that custom, and that was
Yeah.
pretty fun. It took 2 years to build.
Those SS bumpers and cladding, regardless of what they're on, if they're in a truck or SUV, you automatically know that's a SS kit
Yeah,
on it.
yeah.
And those are starting to come back pretty heavily too.
Oh yeah, and they're right now in today's market they're really expensive. Like back then, I remember I paid like $600 for the bumper, the claddings, and the rear bumper. Right now, shit, the dash insert $600 now.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That shows all that old retro stuff's coming back.
Oh yeah.
So, uh, you said that you were doing the graphic stuff in high school. Did you still tinker on that stuff when you were
Yeah.
in the oil field?
Yeah, so on my days off, that's when I would do like logos for people, like buddies of mine that had restaurants. I'll do their menus, I'll do their logos, and then I would just mess around with Photoshop and Illustrator until I guess I got it dialed in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, was you doing any photography while
Yeah.
you were in the oil field stuff?
Yeah, so I would take my point and shoot. I would take it, and I would take pictures of the rig, the sunset. Because when I worked over there in West Texas, I mean, I don't know if you've been to the West. They got beautiful sunsets out there. So
Yeah.
everything in the evening is real beautiful. So I would just take a picture, boom, throw it into Photoshop, do a little editing. I didn't know about Lightroom at the time. Everything was done through Photoshop. Yeah.
And you taught
Yeah.
yourself how to use all that.
Mm-hmm. And then from there, from the point and shoot, I upgraded to the Canon T3.
Okay.
Yeah, I bought it at Walmart. It was like $400 at the time. To me, from the point and shoot to the T3, that was like the biggest upgrade. Cause I look all professional with my little bag, the little kit lenses and everything. I was like, shit, I'm going legit now. And
What year was this?
This was probably, I bought the camera, I would say 2012.
Okay. Yeah, technology had really started to come around. I know when I first started, you couldn't buy cameras like that at Walmart. You couldn't,
Yep.
like Best Buy or Circuit City or whatever, or
Yeah.
B&H Photo.
Radio
But I
Shack in
remember
your
my
age.
first. Do what?
Radio Shack in your time of day.
Come on now. I did buy some stuff back in that Radio Shack. I ain't gonna lie. No, but I remember the first 1 gig memory card I bought was like $330.
Dang.
Now I don't think I could put 2 pictures on a 1 gig memory card.
No.
Like, it's crazy the way in that amount of time in the last 24 years I've done this, the fact on how much that's progressed. I could take that 1 gig and I could shoot the show, 4 or 5 features, and still have half the memory card.
Still have room, yeah. So I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure that when you started, compared when I started, technology has changed a lot. Even for me now, there's a lot of newer stuff, and I'm even impressed. So I could imagine how you would feel going through the old school stuff now to the new stuff.
Yeah, I started for one of the websites, the Street Source, and I had a point and shoot before I stepped up to a
Nice.
Sony, and then I went Canon. The only reason I went Canon over Nikon because a lot of guys were shooting Nikon. I liked the way the Canon fit in my hand better, like the grip was better than the Nikon was. And once I went Canon, I've never switched from that. So
yeah.
So when did you know that you wanted to do stuff with vehicles and for magazines? Did you have something like, hey, like a moment hits you, goes like, I want to do this, I think I can do it, let's try?
When I started taking pictures, I've always had that like dream that saying, hey, I wonder how it would feel like having my pictures in a magazine one day. And it just, I'm like, I would remember going to HEB. We have an HEB down here, Walmart, Walgreens, and all
Yeah.
that. I would go to the magazine section, and back then you would see trucking, sports trucks, and then Lowrider magazine. You see all those, and I would just flip through the pictures. I'm like, damn, that's badass. Like I want to do that. Yeah,
Were
that's
you
where that.
like me when you looked at those pictures? Thought, how did they do this? Where was the sun? How was it
Yeah.
shot? Like, were you like breaking the picture down in your head like I used to?
Yeah, so I would look at him like, where's this at? Because down here in the valley, we don't got good scenery. It's just fields and palm trees. That's about it. So when I would see pictures like with the mountains, with the nice buildings, the truck, the warehouses, all of that, I'll be like, that's pretty nice. I wish we had that down here. And then after that, curiosity killed the cat. So I just started driving around and my days off, just looking at different locations. Like this would be nice to shoot a car or truck here. So I would remember I would write down the street, and I'll just write it down, put it in my little notebook, and just remember like if I ever want to do a truck or a car, I would like, oh, this is a spot for this truck or this car.
Do you remember the first vehicle you shot for somebody?
So no, so everything I used to do everything for myself. Yeah, I wouldn't throw anything to anybody. I was just trying to make a name for myself here locally.
No, I
And
mean like the
then
first somebody else's vehicle, like a buddy's vehicle or something that
oh
you.
yeah, yeah. It was actually my uncle's truck.
Okay.
Yeah. So that one he had a 4-door that was on bags back in the day, and I told him, hey Theo, let me shoot your truck, and he's like, all right, cool. Take the keys. What do you mean? Yeah, take the keys and drive it. Like I don't know how to drive this thing. and so we took it down there and I shot it and it was that color. He had like a Mexican flame job, I would say. It was all rigged up. I mean, back in the day, it looked cool, but now that I remember the truck, I was like, I don't know what we were thinking.
So when did you decide to take the step to start reaching out to magazines and other photographers and stuff, trying to get your foot in the door?
So I always looked up to like Del Martin, like his style of
He's the goat for
photography.
sure.
Oh yeah, he's badass. Like all his work is just badass. And I've always liked his style, the way he puts things together with the nice backgrounds and everything. I'll be like, I'm gonna do that one day. I'll get there. I don't know how, but I'll eventually get there. The magazine stuff actually started, I would say, when I attended my first big show, which was LST. This was in 2016.
Okay.
That's the one I actually got out of the valley and ventured out and went to that show. So I mean, I'm used to all the local trucks here, but when I went over there, it was just I was mind blown with everything, and I just fell in love with the scene.
So what made you decide to reach out to try to get into some magazines? You just saw stuff online and said, I can do at least that, if not better. How do I
Yeah.
get my foot in the door?
So I was like, at first I was like, nah. When I would look at my pictures, I'd be like, they're not magazine ready. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna practice on my shooting, try to get my quality better, my color grading. I used to saturate the pictures real bad. I mean, all the greens, yellows, they were all blown up. To me, it was cool back then, but now that I look back at them, I'm like, I don't know what I was thinking. And I was like, you'll never see this kind of quality in the magazine. So the spark started, I would say, a little after my dad passed. My dad passed in 2018, and I
Okay.
remember having the conversation with my dad, like, hey, Dad. Imagine if I become a photographer and start shooting for like magazines and make a living out of it, and I mean make it a career. I'd be like, nah, boy, you gotta work. That magazine stuff is not. It's never gonna pay the bills. They're like, oh, hey, you never know. It means it won't hurt to try. Like, nah, you need to get that out of your mind and just man, work. Okay, so I'll give you a little backstory. So when my dad passed, basically that triggered the photography side of everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna prove my dad wrong. I'm gonna make something out of this. You know what I mean? Not to say in a bad way, but just to make it seem like, you know what? Hey, I did make something out of
Yeah.
my photography career. So the logo that I have, so it's Ace, right? It's a spade. So Ace comes from my last name, Acevedo. So when my dad passed away, I added the little horse with the wings. It's a Pegasus. Because down here, I like the music called Pegaso, Pega Pega. That's the kind of music that down here in the valley is real popular. It's my dad's favorite music. And when I would make videos or make a post on Instagram or something, I would always use that music. So I integrated the logo into into my logo and just popped it off. So my idea was whenever I hit or become something big, this will be the reminder that, hey, check this out, Dad. I made it. Yeah.
Yep. So you were proving a point just to show that you could do it, so make him proud of you.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. Pretty much that's what triggered, that's what gave me that extra little push to try harder.
Now you said, I guess before you got into the magazine stuff, like you followed like Dell's stuff. Was that the one photographer that you kept following, like trying to say I can do the same style?
Yeah, that Dale was the only one the only reason why I saw Dale because I was scrolling through Google Images, just looking at trucks, and his stuff would always be the first ones that pop out. And I'd be like, damn, that's pretty tall. I'm like, who takes these pictures? So I clicked on a link and it happened to have like a little article and it said photos by Dale Martin. So I looked him up, started following him because I didn't know anybody. I
Yeah.
didn't know where to like who shot what. I didn't know.
Yeah, because
So
he shot my first SEMA build for Cover Lift and Leveled back in 14.
oh really?
That was like I think his first big year doing it. So the question
Mhm.
is, have you listened or watched Dell's podcast where I had him on?
So I listened. I'm not gonna lie. I probably listened to like the first 10 minutes, and then I got busy and never got back to it.
Yep. I see how. So what he's saying is, you guys only need to listen the first 10 minutes of this podcast and
Mm-hmm.
move on.
Yeah.
No, y'all need to listen to all of it. So yeah, Dell was pretty good. I got linked up with him about the time I built my first SEMA build, and we shot it out there in Vegas, and that's back when he was using the lights and everything. I don't even think he hardly uses lights now.
Mm-hmm.
Now he's a big pro, Toyota photographer, so he's got that job that all of us dream of having.
Yeah. Yeah, no, Dale is on a whole scale, man. I love Dale, man. I've chit chatted with him a couple of times. He's a real humble dude, real straightforward. He's like, if you have any questions, don't hesitate, ask me, and he will deliver.
And I'm a firm believer in that too. Someone's coming up and they're trying to figure out how or what. Like, I'm willing to help because that's how I got my start. I had people like Mike Alexander and Johnny O. I've talked about it a million times on the podcast. I've been at photo shoots with them when I first started, and like, why is your camera settings this? Why is the sun here? Why is it angled like this? And they would be honest with me. Of course, Mike would probably talk shit to me while he was doing it, but he would still explain what was what and kind of help me through it, which it'd be pointless for me to not help someone else coming up, because I've had other people ask, and it's like, well, tweak this, tweak that, and they hit me up and go, man, I did that, and that was a whole night and day difference. I didn't realize that was that simple of a change.
So when I started taking pictures, I didn't know anything about manual. Everything was auto. I just boom, point, focus, get it done. So I started using manual because I ran into a photo. I ran into a video on YouTube. And I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna see what limits I can push out of this little small T3. I didn't have no filters. I still had kit lenses. That's what I would use. I would go out to shows. Everything was blown out, but I would fix all of that in Photoshop. So I figured out that, hey, you can use Lightroom. I'm like, oh, so let's try out Lightroom. So I started messing with Lightroom. Lightroom is just a big night and day difference compared to Photoshop when it comes to editing photos. Yeah.
I very very seldom even open Photoshop, and Lightroom now is not what it was 15, 20 years ago at all.
No. No, and not when I remember when I had Photoshop and Lightroom, there was no subscriptions. You had to buy the whole CD,
Yep.
download it in your computer. So I remember a buddy of mine from school, I got like the hack version.
Yep.
So when I had to open it up, I had dial up at that time, so I had to disconnect everything, open up the program, and then connect the internet. Because if I would open it up while it was connected, it would get shut down.
You're not old enough to know about dial up. You must have been the last 6 months of dial up.
Bro, I remember, bro. Hey, the dial up. I remember the dial up. Hey, I remember my mom. Hey, get off the computer. I'm gonna be on the phone. Come on.
Yep. So, what was the first magazine feature you ever shot?
So my first magazine feature will actually be the square body, the red and the dark gray one, the one where I met you at LST. What was 2 years ago? So
Yeah.
that one was local to me. I wasn't expecting to shoot that truck until you approached me, because I remember before that I had talked to Chris at SEMA. What was it? The year before LST. So I was in
Okay.
SEMA with IHC, because that's where I currently work at right now. Uh, that's where I met Chris, and I told him, "Hey, Chris, let me ask you a question. I want you to be completely honest. Like, what's up, man? Like, my photo's not good enough. Like, what do you mean?" Man, I keep hitting up the Instagram, the Facebook, start sending in my photos. Like, no, your pictures are solid. I mean, they need a little work, but they're good. Like, oh, okay. So he gave me his car, gave me his number, and then that was that, right? And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. And then later on, he reached out. He's like, hey, would you want to be part of street trucks? Say, like, started as a freelancer and start shooting for, like, shit. Come on, I'm ready. So that busted my ego, like, hell yeah, like this is my shot. I got hyped up, and then it just fell out the water, and I don't know what was going on, but I'm not gonna lie, I did get a little sad. I'm like, no, well, there goes my shot, right? So when I saw that you became editor, that's when I added you on Facebook and I started messaging you. I mean, I was probably like probably bugging you or something, but I just
Nah.
wanted, yeah, I
Who's
just
this
wanted,
annoying Ace kid?
yeah, like who's this little Mexican guy? So I just started messaging you like, hey man, like I started asking you questions. I was going through it the other day when I had messaged you, sent you a message through Facebook. The old messages popped up, and I was scrolling through. I was reading, I'm like, wow. So that brought me down memory lane, and then fast forward to LST when I met you. Um, that's when you're like, hey, shoot this truck. I want to get it done. Like, bet I got it. So the whole plan was to shoot it at LST, but things didn't coordinate with the owner and everything, and so
I remember
I
his hood didn't open or something.
yeah, so something was going on with the truck that it wasn't ready that weekend. So I was like,
Yeah.
it's okay. So I have this truck local to me. He lives like maybe 15 minutes from here, so it's no biggie. We had the following weekend we had a show here at the islands, the Spring Break Jam by Heatwave, and that's where I shot the truck, got everything done, sent it in, boom, 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 and yeah, that was I could say that was my actual first feature, and I tell you to this day, thanks to you for putting in the word and actually giving me a shot. That's where I'm at now. You know what I mean?
Well, I know that year at LST, that was when I was editor, and it's like I wasn't getting paid more to shoot stuff, and it's like I think I lined up 12 or 13 features between everybody else there. People's like, oh, well, you're just here, taking everything for yourself, and it's like I didn't shoot anything at LST.
Yeah,
Didn't care to. I'm
yeah.
trying to give to guys like you that are local to it to help you, because at the time I wasn't getting paid anymore, and it made no sense for me to
hmm
do it if I could pay someone like you to do it.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's basically ever since that first feature came out, I told Chris, and I still get goosebumps about it. Like, bro, is this real? He's like, yeah, bro, this is you. You did badass on the shoot. You did a good job. Just keep it up. So that motivated me more. You know what? I'm gonna push my limits and I'm gonna see what else I could do. And then from there, it just snowballed to one feature, to a next feature, show coverage, another feature, boom, boom, boom. And then that's when I got my first front cover, which was that same truck, and it came out on Drive. So that
Yeah.
in itself, I was like, whoa, that this like, wow, front cover. This to me, I mean, as a photographer, that's the goal, being front cover in a magazine. You know what I mean? So
So
that
your first paid photo shoot for a magazine wound up being cover.
no. So the
Well, I
first
know they reran it twice though.
Yeah, so the first page, it was a feature. It was a feature. It was, I think it came out in July, because I remember I went to
Yeah.
Barnes and Nobles and I bought every magazine that I saw just because it had the little truck there on top of street trucks. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm buying everything. I went broke buying everything. So just started buying it because I was happy, because that was my first feature. And down here in the valley, there's a lot of good photographers down here, but they're not at the level at being in the magazine. Because to me, I've always thought being in the magazines like being in the NFL. Like, you can try it out, but some will make it, some won't. That's
Yep.
how I see it. You know what I mean? And having my foot in the having my name just printed on there with my pictures and everything, that was just mind blowing. And to me, it's still a big accomplishment.
I think it took me 3 or 4 years before I ever had my first cover. And it was
Oh,
the same
really?
thing. Just I was just out there hustling, trying to make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was February '05. That was my first cover on trucking, and then
Nice.
that just kind of snowballed for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
But you've had quite a few covers in last year.
So actually, I've had last year. It was the first. It was the red square body, and
Yeah.
that came out on Drive. And then the second one was the Tahoe, the two-door Tahoe Maverick.
Yeah.
So that
So
one came out.
badass.
Yeah, it's a badass truck. Yeah, I think, and I'm pretty sure Mikey will see this. I've probably driven that truck more than him. I give him shit all the time, like, because I remember when we took it to Battle in Bama. When was it? Last year. It won Best Tahoe at OBS National, so that was pretty badass. And that's when I decided to do the shoot at the battleship, because it fits the theme of the trucks. It's called Maverick, and on the
Yeah.
battleship, it has the big boat, you got the big planes, the fighter planes and all that. So
Was
that's why,
last
you
year
know
the
what?
show wasn't at it wasn't at the battlefield or battleship though. So you stopped
No.
on the way home with it or something?
Yep. So basically, we detoured from Talladega all the way to Mobile. So that was like a 4-hour detour. And I remember we were running late. So by the time I got to the battleship, sunset was already coming down. I'm like, we got to get the truck down. We got to do this. And then the truck didn't want to start. I'm like, I'm going to miss this opportunity. Like, no. So we got a battery jumper. We jumped it, did what I had to do. I literally shot that truck there, I would say, in 10 minutes. I only got a couple of photos in, which was the main shot, and a couple of back shots that I got. And then I talked to Chris about it, like, hey, I didn't finish the shoot, but I'll finish the truck shoot when I get back home, because I'm going to shoot it at a plane hangar here local. So that's where I finished the shoot over here at my hometown, and boom, it became covered. And so that was
Well, that
pretty
one
badass.
that one had been previously been shot. I guess just photos wasn't used, but yours come
Yeah.
out badass for sure.
Yeah. No, that truck was shot before, but I mean, I don't know what happened. And like I told the owner, like, hey man, if you want me to reshoot it, I'm more than welcome to reshoot it. Like, yeah, let's get it done and see if it sticks this time. So we shot it and it stuck and became front cover.
So I guess after the first couple features and stuff dropped, you knew you were hooked and that you had to keep doing this.
Yeah, I was after that first feature, bro. I was hooked, and then mini trucking. That's when mini trucking the magazine came around. I met Logan, um, and then he was like, "Hey, man, would you like to be part of the magazine?" Yeah, I mean, I don't know anything about mini trucks, but I know they're pretty badass. And
Yeah.
he's like, "Yeah, if you ever see a mini truck that you like, shoot it up." So I remember the year before I met you at LST, I had shot James Ellis hardbody. So I
Yeah.
shot that truck and I was just sitting on those photos. I never used them. And I was like, you know what? I already shot a mini truck. So I sent the pictures to Logan and Logan was like, bro, this is badass. This is good stuff. I mean, whatever you want to do with it. I mean, I don't mind. He's like, okay. So it was that, and then a couple of months later, he's like, hey, we're gonna use it as a front cover for the magazine. Like, really? He's like, that's pretty badass. Yeah. So the first issue is gonna come out, then like maybe 2 months later, the second issue of Mini Trucks,
Yeah.
the new version is gonna come out, and you're gonna be front cover. So I was like, bro, this is badass.
I know back the old mini truck, and I'd shot, I think at the time, probably more covers for that magazine than I had anything. I need to count now. I probably have more street trucks now than I did mini trucking, but that was my main go-to. I shot more for mini trucking back in the day than I did anything
Oh, really?
else.
Yeah.
I mean, just because that was the world I was in. I was hitting all the mini truck shows, and I was in that circle. So everybody was like, "Hey, I'm getting ready to have this truck debut. Do you want to shoot it before I debut it?" And it's like, "Yeah, let's make it happen." So
Yeah, let's make it happen, man. I wish I was around in those times because I look back at like all the old photos, the videos, and man, it looked like everybody had a hell of a time because there was no cell phones. So
yeah,
if you wanted to see a truck, you would only see it in the magazines or in person. You have to go to an actual show and see a truck back in the day. Right now, it's a little harder for the magazines because if you see a badass build, let's say me and you know of a certain build that's going on. I mean, because we
yeah.
know the owners, we know the shops, so we try to keep it under wraps. But then it gets leaked out. Let's say Buddy goes to the shop, posts a picture on Instagram, and it just ruins that part of the wow factor. You know what I mean? So I'm pretty sure I could honestly say social media did ruin magazines.
I 100% agree, and it's been talked about
Yeah,
on probably 90% of my podcast. Is
yeah,
the fact that most people back in the day, you'd take magazines to the bathroom with you. Now it's your phone. Like
yeah,
Thursday, you could tell what everything was at Battle Alabama this past weekend on Thursday of the show, where the magazine's going to wait 6 months before it comes out.
yeah.
So it's that instant, I got to see it now mentality
Gotta see.
that has
Yeah,
kind of pushed the print side away, which has pushed the social media side up.
yeah. So now fast forward to everything. Now I've been a little bit more involved with street trucks, and they've got me pretty busy. And now that I've have I could say my foot in the door, they've been keeping me pretty busy. Right now I got a couple of projects coming up, and yeah, it's been bad. It's been a badass experience. I'm working under Mike Alexander right now. Mike's a badass dude. Mike, if you're seeing this, love you, man. I love you.
He don't watch or listen to podcasts. He didn't even watch his own podcast.
I'll send him this clip. I'll screen record it and send it to him. And other than Mike, Chris, man, Chris is a badass dude. He's hard to get to, but when you do get around him, he's a badass dude. And the times that I've talked with you, everybody that I've talked to in the magazine world, y'all are awesome. Because of you guys gave me that little extra push, and that's where I'm at now. Because one day I want to be like you guys.
Well, I know last year, I was scheduled to go down and cover Battle Alabama. I had a
Yeah,
couple of features and stuff lined up or whatever.
yeah,
I got COVID the day before I was supposed to leave, and I was
yeah.
like,
Damn.
well, I know you're going to be there. I just want to hit you up. It's like, hey, can you do this? So then I got with Craig and said, hey, Joe's going to take my spot here doing the show coverage, and Craig's like, oh, no big deal. Feel better kind of thing. I missed it, but I
Yeah.
mean, you killed it last year at that show.
Yeah.
So I guess you took that opportunity and ran with it. It looks like.
Yeah, so that basically that's what it is. I mean, it kind of sucked because I wanted to be out there with you, actually shooting. I was like, this will be the time where I could get to pick your brain for a little bit, see how you shoot, or what's your honest opinion on the way I shoot. That was my mentality for last year when we were gonna do Battle in Bama, but that happened. I'm like, well, shit, I'm on my own now, so I gotta figure this out.
I'm down anytime, man. I mean, I know you were busy
Yeah,
this past weekend. I was busy, so whenever I'm always down.
yeah, yeah. And then
So go ahead.
what was that? No, go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
My bad. No, so
So
what? Okay, go ahead.
so you've been working in the automotive world other than the magazine stuff, I guess,
Hmm.
since you left the oil fields.
Yeah, yeah. I've been working with IHC suspension.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I used to do sales for them, and now recently I just switched over to the media side. So now I'm the one that takes care of all the media for IHC.
I guess you've worked for a couple other shops and stuff throughout that time as well. But
Hmm.
like you were saying at Bama, you had the opportunity to come back to IHC, which they seem to be growing heavily in the
Oh yeah.
suspension world.
Man, from the time that I've met Ness, the owner, he used to do bag body trucks, custom frames, all that good stuff behind his dad's house. And seeing where he's at now is just a complete 180 from where he started. And Inez is one of the most humblest dudes that you can meet. You talk to him, he's cool. I mean, you look at you can probably swing by the booth, you won't even know who he is because he's just a humble dude.
So
Yes.
you work in the shop with them. So I guess if you comment on their social media or whatever, you're the one that replies to all that and
Yeah,
everything
so
now.
it's me and another guy. So the other guy, he's more of the IT. He takes care of like the IT, the website. Like if something has to be changed on the website and this and that, he takes care of all of that. I do more of the social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and the comments. Yeah, like you see like little fire emoji under IHC, it's probably me behind it.
That's your signature in there, huh?
And you see the fire emoji, yeah, you know it's me.
So I guess having a job like that in the industry, they are behind you and support you doing your other photography stuff. They're not like,
Oh
no, you
yeah.
need to be here doing this for us.
No, so they're really those guys. They're real open minded in what I do. You know what I mean? Because when I came back on board, they asked me, like, hey, this will not affect you working with the magazine coming back on board. Well, like, no, this is actually better because I get to see new stuff that I could use for the magazine, and the
Yeah.
magazine can actually, I guess, like build a relationship where it actually works both ways. You know what I mean? So I have my foot in the door with the company, my foot in the door with the mag, so it kind of just everything sits together. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's good to have a job that allows you to do that. I mean, I was at Pepsi 22 years and I couldn't just take off Thursday afternoon and be gone. Like
Yeah.
I only had so many days a year that I could use. So it was tough doing what
Yeah.
I was doing. But, now I kind of make my own schedule and do what I want when I
Yeah.
want. But
I tell you
it's,
what, when I before I jumped back into IHC, I was doing photography full time. Man, that was rough. I mean, it humbled you because I mean, coming from an oil field background, I mean, I was making a good living. You know what I mean?
yeah.
And then doing the transition into the camera full time. Damn, that's a big budget cut. You know what I mean? I had to cut all resources, limit myself in certain things. I had to change my lifestyle. I had to do a whole. But I was like, you know what? If I don't do this now, then when am I gonna do it? Because you procrastinate
Yep.
now, I'll do it later. I'll do it later. Now you got to just grab the bull by the horns and just go with it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Ever since I did that, uh, yeah, then now I get to do whatever I want. You can say.
I know it was tough because all I wanted to do was play with cars and trucks and all that stuff when I was at Pepsi. But Pepsi paid the bills, and I had the opportunity at the end of 21 to step away and do my own thing. And it's like I wish I would have done it sooner, but things happen for a reason, and you know times are meant, you're meant to do what you're supposed to do when you're meant to do it. So,
Hmm.
so where do you see the future for Ace Graphics going? Like, what is your goal? What's your 5 year plan with what you do?
So my 5 year plan is to one, become a better photographer. Because I would never say I'm the best. A lot of people are like, hey, bro, your rollers are badass. You're the roller king. Like, no, I'm not a roller king. I mean, it's stuck, it's catchy, and I use it to piss off people, right? But I'm not I'm not the best. You know what I mean? There's a lot of people out there that are a lot better than me. I could still say I'm still in the learning curve in the photography world, and I'm just like a sponge. I get information from you, information from, let's say, Tucker or Jonathan, Victor, all the people that I know, and I just try to see, okay, they do it this way, they do it this way, why? So let's
Yeah.
put it together and then just create something. You know what I mean?
So that's your only goal is just be better at it. You're not trying
No,
to
so
say,
that's one thing. Two, actually, I want to be one day. I want to be an editor. I don't know how that's gonna happen because I know that my writing is not the best because I've done a couple of articles for Chris, for Devin, for Mike. Bro, that writing is hard.
you ain't lying.
Writing is hard, and I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Chat GPT, bro, it's my best friend. I I write it up, boom, 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 boom. My word, and I just put, hey, correct this, put proper grammar, boom. It corrects everything. Then I read it. Okay, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. Change this out, and I just tweak it, and it works.
Now, personally, I think the Chat GTP deal in the automotive magazine space is not a good thing because, like, I was writing an article for a magazine last night, and it's like, or yesterday, it's like you can't look at a text sheet and notes over here and word that together. Chat GTP is not going to know that this part was done, but it needed this part. Like, you have to actually write that. I know Chris had always pushed, when you start using Chat GTP, I'm like, why? It's not going to make sense in our world.
So what I learned through my experience in writing, so every feature that I would do, I would ask the owner, like, hey, fill out the text sheet for me and write me a little story behind the build. And like, just, I mean, what was the purpose of the build? Why did you build it? Why did you choose these wheels? Why did you go with this paint? Why did you do it the way you did it? So they send it in a different email. They would send me their paragraph. So that's where I got that information and just put everything together. And it would be, I guess, a more personal touch to the truck, because that's what it really an article is. People nowadays, nobody reads. So everybody wants to see the pictures. Oh, that's a badass truck. Boom, boom, boom. You can write a badass literature, and people are like, they just want to see the pictures of the truck.
Well, but I usually sit down when I'm shooting and talk to the owner and ask him those questions, because it's like, I feel when you have the conversation like that, when they tell you they did X, Y, and Z, you can kind of see that and go, all right, cool. Well, I'm going to add this into your article.
Yeah.
But I've hated writing for years. Literally, I used to despise writing. And then it was like, make a little more doing it. Might as well do it.
And then I don't know if you ran into this problem. I'm really bad with deadlines.
No,
I guess it's just me. I procrastinate a lot. I know that I gotta get shit done. I'll be like, I'll do it later. Or I'll do it tomorrow. Or I'll do this, and then Chris or Mike or Devin, they're like, hey man, are you done with those features? Shit. So I get on it. Boom, boom, boom. The editing part of the photo, that's done. The writing is what takes me the most time to do.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. I know when I was doing, when I was editor, I had, Wendy, we had a 33%, 66%, and 100% deadlines. I would treat my 33% deadline like my 100%. Everything would be done, turned in. Wendy's like, I've never been able to work ahead this far. This is awesome. Everything's ready to go. I'm just one of those ones I have to, if I don't have it before it's due, it bothers me. Now, Mike, on the other hand, once again, he won't listen to this, but I tell him all the time. He'll reach out and go, "Hey, can you write this article for me?" I'm like, "Yeah, when do you need it?" He's like, "About an hour." And I'm
Yesterday.
like, "No, I'm not even home. Like, how can I?" It's like, "How about tomorrow?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And the next morning, like 9 a.m., he's sending a text, "Hey, did you get that article done?" I'm like, "No,
That's
like you
Mike.
told me about it last night at 10 o'clock at night. I don't."
I love
The,
Mike. He gives me shit all the time. He's like, "Hey, are you done?" Yeah. Like, "Hey, I haven't forgot. I'm gonna get it done. Don't worry about it." And then this past weekend when I was at Bama, I actually shot the cover for OBS Builders. It's gonna come out, and he's like,
I've seen
"Hey,"
that.
and he's like, "Hey, so are you gonna finish this today?" And like, bro, I still gotta drive 20 hours to Texas. He's like, "Can you do it?" "Hell yeah, I can." So on the way coming down, I was editing, doing all this good stuff. And then when I got back home, that's when I started doing the literature. I literally shot the truck on Sunday, wrote the literature on Monday, turned everything by Monday night. And Mike's like, "Bro, you're awesome." Like, "Bro, you really pushed my limits in turning stuff in." But then when I saw the cover already, I'm like, wow, this is worth it. Yeah.
Yeah, me and him were back and forth about that, and we were talking about it. So I saw that you had shot it, but then he showed me one of the photos, not the layout, but he showed me one of the photos, and
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, we were kind of chatting about that.
Mm-hmm.
But he had me writing one for OBS as well, and it's like that's when he said, "Can you have it done tonight?" I'm like, "No, I just walked in the door, still got to shower, still got to eat. It's already 8 o'clock at night. No."
Yeah.
So
It's
I was up.
OBS Builder is going to be a badass book. So that hopefully that snowballs into something bigger, because now that I'm running the socials of free trucks, OBS builders, and everything, I get to see the back end, and I actually want to change it up a little bit, because you know how social media has been working for a while, right? For the
Yeah.
for the brand. So I want to change up the style a little bit. I mean, I'm not trying to step on anybody's toes. Everybody that works with the company, everyone's cool, but I just want to give it a little extra taste.
Yeah.
That's always been one of my other goals. So the first goal is be a better photographer. The second one is be an editor for the magazine. The third one is just being mentally stable. You know what I mean? Because ever since that my dad passed and everywhere, I've been fighting my battles with myself. Like sometimes I'm good, sometimes I'm bad, sometimes I don't want to do it. So I just want to be a better person. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
And that
those are my.
everybody has that struggle to some degree. I know I do as well.
Mm-hmm. So trying to make something a dream come true and fighting your demons at the same time. So it's sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. Sometimes I tell my wife, like, it sucks because it feels that I'm doing a lot, but inside it feels that I'm not doing shit. You know what I mean?
Same. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm the same way. I'm like, I need to do more. I need more. Like
Yeah.
let's
More.
go. Let's go. I need more.
Yeah.
So tell people how they find you online to keep up with your work and the stuff you're doing.
So online, I'm everywhere. So on Instagram, Facebook, I'm under Ace Graphix with an X. There's a lot of other Ace Graphix, but they do like wrap stickers and all that stuff. It's not hard to find. Just see the little logo right here, and
Yeah.
that's me. You know what I mean? And then under Facebook, you can just go under Joe Aceveda Jr. That's where everybody reaches out through Facebook.
So what is your work pages and stuff they can keep up with you on there as well?
The work pages, so just IHC suspension.
Okay. I know I wanted to link up with you and do it in person at Bama, but between you running around crazy, me running around, the little bit of rain we had, trying to get features worked in, it made more sense to link up after the show to do this. So, well, I appreciate you coming on, man, and telling your story. So hopefully you can be.
Thanks for the invite. This is actually my first podcast, so this is pretty cool.
Nice. Maybe your story will inspire somebody else that's trying to come up, knowing that you just got to take that step and let somebody give you a chance.
Yeah, it's like I always said. I want to end the podcast with this, and I keep saying it, and you see it on my Instagram bio, everything. The hustle is free. The dream is free. The hustle is sold separately.
Yep.
That quote right there, it just that it is what it is with that quote. So people that know, and if you want to do something, just do it. Do it.
Well, I appreciate you coming on, man. I guess we'll catch you at the next show.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Brandon.